Hello everyone, True Zero Emissions here. Okay, so we have, what is this called, Abraham?
These are single coil pickups from a guitar. They've been used around ever since Fender came out with the Stratocaster. These are from a Stratocaster guitar, and they're single coil pickups. All it is just a couple of magnets with some posts on them for the strings, and they're wrapped around copper wire. Each one of these, usually they were, back in the day, they were hand wrapped, and now it's done by machine, but it's still the same technology since way back then. Just a couple of magnets so it can pick up the guitar, the vibrations from the string, and it turns it into sound.
That's amazing. So the strings on the guitar actually go past this, right?
They go past this. They go past here. They don't touch.
Wow.
They don't touch. It's just they're above the posts.
Yeah.
I'd say probably a few millimeters.
Wow.
But when you strum the strings,
yeah,
the magnet picks up the vibrations.
The vibrations, right?
And it transmits it into the amplifier or the speaker, and it's what creates the sound out of it.
That's amazing. And that's from an electric guitar, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we were talking about the Donald Lee Smith rotating separator coil, and how I want to make my own simplified version of that, of having two magnets and then interrupt the field between the two magnets, and have coils wrapped around the magnets, and then send that into, I guess, a capacitor and a full wave bridge rectifier, and just experiment and see if I can maybe light a light bulb or something, just for fun. So Don Smith rotating separator coil. So then I was talking with Abraham about how I understand that to work and how I understand it not to work, just in theory as a thought experiment. And then Abraham mentioned these are these called pickup coils?
Yes.
Pickups. And I was talking about using copper as an to interrupt that field, because I was saying copper is not magnetic, but if you move a magnet past copper, it interacts with that field, right? And so when I said that, because it made me think that copper might be an ideal material possibly to interrupt that field, right? Because we want the magnets to switch, if I understand correctly, to switch from being one continuous magnet into two separate magnets, right? So when the field switches, that's when we're going to get what I'll call maybe an impulse. Maybe we can call it an impulse. And that impulse will be the coils receiving energy from the magnetic field interacting with the environment, right? The energy-rich environment. And if I understand correctly, just as a thought experiment. And when I talked about copper, Abraham said, well, and you thought of the pickups, right?
Yes.
And did you say that you thought the coils around the pickups were actually isolating?
That's what I'm thinking. The copper wrap is for, to isolate it from anything else. Because one of the things with single coil pickups, at least in the guitar world, there's a lot of interference with them. So when I'm plugged into an amplifier or something, I get a little bit of a buzz or a white noise, because lights and everything, a lot of it interfere with it. Wow. There's another style of pickup that it's not a single coil. It's called a humbucker. I don't know, I've never taken one of those apart, but those cancel all the white noise, all the humming out of it. I don't know if they work similar or not. But yeah, these particular ones, yeah, if there's any interference, you will hear it in the amplifier. Not a lot, but it's there, and it's bothering for some musicians. So they switch to humbuckers. Now, another interesting about that got me thinking is a lot of professional musicians and guitar techs usually recommend isolating or putting they sell some copper, it's a copper tape, and they recommend putting that inside of the cavity of where these go in your guitar to isolate that white noise that you get when it's plugged in. So that's what got me thinking of you canceling the signal, or canceling the magnet, the field
that interaction
with copper.
Yes.
Because copper is something that they use to isolate any other interference, at least in the guitar world.
That's amazing. And see, everyone, this is why I keep saying that word collaboration, because if we share our ideas with one another, the idea is gonna grow and expand exponentially. It's gonna be more than 1 + 1, right? When they say 2 minds are better than one, this is what we're talking about right here. I didn't know any of this. And everything, I keep finding that I keep coming back to music, right? This always comes back to music. It always comes back to music, instruments, musical instruments, musical theory. It's relevant, right? Like it's so related to everything. So that tape, what's that tape called?
I don't know. I don't know what it's called. But you can probably find it at any music store.
Okay.
But it's basically just copper tape.
Copper tape
that you put on the cavity where this goes, to make all those interference noises go away. As a matter of fact, I think the old pickups, you could put your mouth to it and speak, and you would hear it coming out of the amplifier.
And would it sound like your voice too?
Yeah.
But louder?
Yeah.
That is amazing. You could literally speak to that.
They were microphonic.
That's amazing.
They were microphonic. So
Okay.
I think they used copper and all these things as a way to isolate the outside noise or the outside interference.
Okay. And do you think if we spoke into these, if they were connected all the way they go, that the voice might actually work as well still?
I don't think so, because these are more newer than the ones they made back in the 70s and 60s.
Okay.
Newer materials, so I doubt you'll get something,
because that's considered interference. That's considered unwanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and these still have that interference, but it's a lot less. And I'm not sure exactly. It's been a while since I've taken one apart.
Yeah.
But your magnet is right. I think your magnet's right here, and you have ceramic plates here and here
on the sides.
And sandwiching the posts.
Okay.
And then your coil is wrapped around it.
Okay. And what do you think the ceramic is doing, separating the coils from these bars?
I don't know. They used to use ceramics.
Okay.
I think on a lot of the cheap guitars they still do. But now the material that is being used is called Alnico 5.
Alnico 5?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what's being used to make the magnets and these pieces, but back in the day, it was ceramic. It was the top of the notch.
Amazing.
Nowadays, I think, like I said, a lot of the cheap instruments do still use ceramic, but the new thing right now is Alnico 5s, and they're not that. And a lot of the pickups, that are Alnico 5s are not that expensive to pick up anymore. But it's still the same technology, just different materials being used.
Okay, and when you say not much nowadays, what are we looking at price-wise, roughly, if you were to approximate?
If you were looking for a cheap set of Alnico 5 pickups, I think you can pick them up for a whole set for about $40.
Okay.
Which is, if you would go to a top brand, you can find them from $151 a piece to $200 a piece.
And what are those called? Those higher end ones?
It's the same material, but probably higher grade.
Okay. So we're looking at here. We think this is a magnet on the bottom.
We brought these two together.
That's definitely a magnet. And
then
it
looks like it's pretty strong.
It is pretty strong. I'm noticing that. And then these bars, you think these are not magnetic? Is that your guess? They're just metal?
They are magnetic, because but I think they're transferring the field from the magnet.
Wow.
Because if you were to put something metal in there, it will stick.
Yeah. But you think if we took that
when you loosen up the strings are steel. They'll stick to the post.
Okay.
But I think they're transmitting the field from the magnet itself.
Got it. So if we took that magnet off, as a thought experiment, if we took that off,
I don't think these would be magnetic at all.
Amazing. And there's something about that's an ideal design versus having these as actual magnets, right?
Exactly.
That would not be as good as what we have here. That's amazing. I love it. Abraham, thank you so much. Do you have any more thoughts about this?
Nope, not really.
Okay, we're ready to go to the next step of what can I do with what I've learned today towards my Don Smith rotating separator coil project. All right, everyone. True Zero Emission signing off. Thank you very much, Abraham, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Say bye, Abraham.
All right, see you later.
See ya. Bye-bye.